hospital requiring more expensive care.
Alper says the way a state the unwinding process had a significant impact on how many eligible children kept their insurance coverage.
If it doesn't work, we can just let you sit with Tony.
In 6 months. I'm Freya Ross, Arkansas News Service. Find our trust indicators.
But if you don't mind, if you just sit, you and Tony sit together, it'll work just fine.
American roots music like you hear on the Collage Show. Blues, responsive soul,
It's okay. Yeah.
On September 25th. KABF, your home for community radio, will host a fundraiser from 5 to 9. Myself, Stephen, and Tim from the Collage Show will provide the soundtrack. You just have to provide your heartbeat.
So come on and hang out with us, enjoy some great music, and help keep KABF on the air. Admission is free. That's Thursday, September 25th, from 5 to 9 p.m. at Rush Wine Bar, 318 North Main Street in North Little. Hope to see you there.
This is Kwame Abdul Bey. I want you to meet Alice. Who is she? You and me. Alice stands for Asset Limited Income
Yeah, you can just sit over there with
Constrained
Tony.
Employee. Alice is
And y'all should
working
be able to
families
use the same.
facing high housing costs, medical debt, and more month than money. We're the majority of our kids. We need programs that work for us as hard as we work for our state and family. Hey, policymakers and politicians, it's time to meet Alice. Who is Alice? All of us.
Thanks to the University of Arkansas Pulaski Technical
Well, maybe I
College
need to sit on
for
this
Humanities
side.
and
Would that be
Arts
better?
for supporting KABF 88.3 FM. As part of the Charts Live Performing Arts Series, Charts presents Spanish and American Parody, a production created by Gerard Alessandrini. This musical parody offers a lighthearted look at Broadway
But y'all gotta
culture,
get in there together.
clever songs,
So
quick
scoot on
humor,
them.
and a cast of versatile performers. The event takes place Thursday, October 2nd, 2025, beginning at 7:30 p.m. at the Charts Theater, located at
Scoot on
3000 West
sometime.
Scenic
Get
Drive
close.
in North Little Rock. More information about this
And then
performance,
if you go
along
on
with details
my
about other
page and
Charts
then
Live
share it,
events,
go
can
on
be
my
found
page
at
and find this, and then you can share it to your page.
uaptc.edu/charts.
So you can be live.
Okay.
house today, in the house today. I'm so excited that Mayor Lisa Hicks Gilbert is also with us. So I want to make sure that you know that we have a show, a serious show, a live show, an inspiring show, a motivational show. All of that is coming up in just a few minutes. But first, I want to make sure that you know that here at Community Voices, we center Blackness in the context of the human story. And we do that through the spirit of Sawubona, the spirit of oneness that reminds us that we are connected. We are connected because there is absolutely nothing that you can do to change the fact that we are bound by our humanity. Can't change that. But what we can do is change the way we interact with each other, change the way we celebrate our humanity, change the way we honor our humanity. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So we are so grateful that you have joined us right here at KABF 88.3 FM. We are having we having a little bit of technical difficulty.
You didn't have
I didn't have my mic up.
Anybody heard that?
We coming in hot this morning with Tina Marie live right here at KABF 88.3 FM, where we are the voice of the people. We are super excited that you have joined us for this hour. I am your host, the Reverend Doctor. You can call me Denise, and live in studio right here with us is your co-host, the pastor. Toney is in the space today. Toney, you want to greet us this morning?
It's been a while since I've been on Community Voices. Been doing a lot of work around so many different places, but it's great to be here. I want to take a moment, if it's okay, Denise, for those of you who have not heard one of the icons. And when I say icons, I mean icon of KABF, Robert Big Griffin passed away this weekend. Robert Big Griff was basically one of the first hosts or DJs here at KBF when it went on the air in 1984. Not only was he known at KBF, he worked at every radio station here in Little Rock, and a lot of people know him from the original KOKY, and he was not only known here in the state of Arkansas, but he was known around the country. He was a blues man, he was a jazz, and he was influential in so many DJs getting their start. You think about Broadway Joe, you think about Stack 3, you think about Mr. Lee. All those iconic DJs all got their start through Big Griff, and we are saddened. We just want to send our prayers out to his family, to his wife Beverly, to his children, and just pray as they go through this time of bereavement. But also, just want to take a minute for a moment of silence for Big Griff. Thank you.
Okay. We also have, Lo is reminding us that we also have, I didn't want to interrupt Toney, so we're going to take another moment of silence for one of our elders, Freeman McKendra, who also passed away, an astounding volunteer, spiritual leader. We want to make sure that we lift him up as well. So let's just pause one more time in honor of our elders. Thank you so much for that. We were talking about Big Griff. I also want to just lift up his wife, I think I met her maybe once or twice, but just kind of in passing. But one of the ways that I have come to know her is by watching how she was taking care of her husband.
Yes.
I've watched how she has been by his side, watched how she has cared for him, how she has celebrated him, how she has kept him in our remembrance by making sure she shared photos of him and all of that. And I just really want to take this time to make sure that she knows that we are holding her in this sacred space at this time. And anything that we can do to support, let's make sure that we do that. Caller, call me back. I was talking about Big Griff's wife, so call us back and we'll be more than happy to get you on the air. We do want to hear what you have to say. In studio this morning. We've been trying to get her in the studio for a long time. In studio this morning, the mayor, the honorable Lisa Hicks Gilbert. Woo-hoo! Lisa, greet us this morning like you always be greeting us. You are such a supporter of KABF. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Good, as I always say, good morning, good people.
That's what you say.
Yes. But thank you so much for having me. And you all have been trying to get me in here just this weekend. Just kind of lined up. We were at the Arkansas Black Mayors Association gala this weekend, so I decided to stay a couple of days, visit with the grandbabies, so I could be here this morning. So,
and we
good to be here.
We are glad about it, and we have a huge show coming up for you. I want to make sure that we are grounded in our space this morning. I want to ground us in the song Tina Marie. Also want to ground us in our EJI tidbit for this morning. But I do have a couple of announcements that I want to make myself. I don't even want to call these announcements. I don't even know if they are confession. I just need to ask forgiveness. That's what I need to do. I need to ask forgiveness because y'all, let me just tell y'all something. I promise, I swear for cheese and crackers, I never think about the fact that I have a box, that Community Voices has a box inside of the studio. I never, ever think about it. And last week I had a piece of equipment that I had left the week before and Charles put it in my box. I was looking for it. Charles said, it's in your box. I said, box? What box? He said, girl, you got a box. So I ran around there and got the equipment, but also when I got the equipment, I had in my box 2 people who had pledged to the show, 2 people. I want to say shout out to Rusty Carrington and shout out to Nathaniel Marshall. Y'all, I promise I didn't know y'all had pledged to the show. Thank you so much. We are so grateful for your contributions, so grateful for your support, so grateful for your love. The way that you all always, not just these 2, but everybody, the way that y'all show up for us, but Nathaniel and Rusty, please know I had no idea. And now that I know, I want to make sure that I go live and let everybody know I apologize for it taking me so long to recognize that you have pledged to the show. We appreciate you so much. Please continue to support us. And Nathaniel, I got your letter too, and I'm going to respond to your letter on another day, probably next week. We'll see how it, oh no, Osiris will be here next week. Osiris Bali will be on the show next week. But I do want to remind us that Community Voices is rooted and grounded in centering Blackness in the context of our human story. And we do that through the spirit of Sawubona that binds us together through our humanity. And I wanted to pull out Tina Marie for a lot of reasons. But the number one reason that I chose Tina Marie is because here she is talking to us. She wrote this song herself. She's talking to us about a relationship that she's so passionate about, that she is willing to give it her all. She's willing to take every risk. She's willing to make every sacrifice. She believes so much in the commitment that she's about to make that no matter what happens, no matter how it turns out, she's giving her whole self over to this man. She wants him to know that, look, I'm in it to win it. We ride or die. I'm going to be right here for you every step of the way. And that kind of passion, that kind of commitment, soon as the song, if you know the song, as soon as the first note is hit, you already know what's about to happen. It's Tina Marie, and you can't help but get it all down in your body. You can't help but start moving. You can't help but start grooving. You can't help but start grinding. You're like, hey, it's Tina Marie. And when I was thinking about Mayor Lisa Hicks Gilbert coming on the show, and I was trying to think about what song I felt like encapsulates who she is to me while I'm watching her do the work, boots on the ground in Elaine, I thought about this song, Out on a Limb, because if we take it out of the romantic context and we think about it just in terms of community, a community of people, when you find somebody like this mayor who's willing to say, I'm so passionate about what I do, I'm so committed to what I do, I'm so devoted to what I do, I'm so dedicated that I'm willing to go out on that limb, even if I'm out there by myself. Even if y'all say y'all gonna show up, but you don't. Even if you promise that you're gonna do something, but you don't. Even if you keep telling me you're gonna be right there, but you never show up. She is still right there out on that limb by herself saying, I'm gonna hold it there. If don't, what the old people say at the church, if don't nobody else go, I'll go all by myself. That's what the people say. So I feel like this was the best song that I could think of that I feel like it demonstrates for me through song. And I think that music is such a powerful form of art because it can bind us together in ways that other mediums cannot. And music is universal. I don't care where you go. Music, the words, the sounds can cause us to let our barriers down and let some walls down so we can have some real conversation. So I wanted to make sure that I use that song for you, Mayor, this morning. So glad that you are here. And I also wanted to use this particular EJI tidbit, which is actually from today. So on September 23rd, 1955, an all-white jury in Tallahatchie County, Mississippi, acquits Roy Bryant and John Millam in the murder of 14-year-old Emmett Till months before they confess in a Look magazine story. Let me say that again. On this day, September 23rd in 1955, which wasn't that long ago, an all-white jury in Tallahatchie County, Mississippi, acquits Roy Bryant and John Millam in the murder of 14-year-old Emmett Till months before they confessed in a Look magazine story. So 14 years old, Emmett Till comes to Mississippi to visit his family. Y'all know how some of us do. You send your children to the grandfather, send the children to the auntie, send the children on down so they can cultivate. First of all, so you can get a parents a break. Every parent needs a break from time to time. If that's your ministry, somebody needs to start that ministry, giving parents a break. Sometimes we just need a reprieve. Anybody that's a caregiver, you need a reprieve. But you also want to foster that relationship with your other family members that you don't see on a regular basis. So you want to build community, build familial relationships. And so he's down here straight chilling with his cousins. He doesn't really understand everything that's going on in Mississippi. He's not from Mississippi. And he walks in and speaks to the woman. How dare you speak to a white woman, black man? And 14 years old, they kidnapped him. They beat him savagely. They made him carry a 74-pound fan that they ended up using around his neck to anchor him when they dropped him in the water, and they shot him in the head. 14 years old, this young man endured all of this. And some people say that this was the start of the civil rights movement, because when his mother, Mamie Till, came and saw his body, have y'all seen the film? If y'all have not seen the documentary, you got to see this documentary. When she walks up to that casket and she's looking at her son. Wait, before she even gets to the casket, this is when she's in the morgue. They didn't even want to release him to the morgue, and she demanded that they release him to the morgue. So when she's in the morgue, she tells even her husband, I need some time just by myself. Oh, I get chills just thinking about it. A mother saying, I need time by myself with my dead son. And he was unrecognizable because of the way he had been. His body was bloated after being in the water for so long. But she said, ain't no doubt about it, she knew just from the feel of his body. When she just touched his legs, she knew that was her son. That moment almost took me out of the movie. But she said, I don't want to have a closed casket. I want everybody to see what you've done to my son. I want everybody to see this monster you've created, because this is not how he was brought into the world. This is not how he was cared for as a young Black man. This was not how I loved him as a Black mother. This is what y'all created by your hatred and by your discrimination, by your dehumanization. This is what you created, this 14-year-old. And I thought about that because I know Mayor Lisa Hicks Gilbert, you're on to talk about the Elaine massacre. And so when we think about these stories, some of us don't want to talk about it anymore. Some of us don't want to talk about it because it brings up so much pain and it brings up so much trauma. And I don't want to re-traumatize somebody, but I do want to make sure that we are grounded in the truth of who we are in this country. And we are still the same way today because we have not yet rectified what we've done to our ancestors. Lisa, let me read your shirt. It says, I'm healing out loud because my ancestors died in silence. Do you hear? This is what her t-shirts say. I'm healing out loud. And so these stories help us to heal in some way. So talk to us a little bit about the massacre, what you all were doing this weekend.
Well, this weekend was we were at the Arkansas Black Marriage Association.
Oh, yeah. But you're getting ready for the massacre on the 30th.
Yeah, the anniversary. 106 years since the Elaine massacre.
106 years.
106 years since the Elaine massacre, September 30th, 1919. So we're getting ready to commemorate, and this year we're doing something a little different. We usually have some events, but we're getting ready for some major movements.
Some major
movements.
Major movements.
And so what we're going to be doing on the 30th is launching the first website. Dedicated to the descendants of the Elaine massacre. Well, dedicated to our ancestors. So it's the descendants of the Elaine massacre of 1919 website. And we'll be launching that on September 30th. That's a week from now. And also we are preparing to create, now I know a lot of people are familiar with the Elaine massacre memorial that's in Helena, right in the courtyard, right across from the courthouse in Helena, West Helena. And a lot of people always ask me, why is the memorial in Helena? And my answer is this: simply, it's because the people who had the committee and those who raised the fund learned that, that same committee had, tried to work with some descendants in Elaine to put something similar there. But, I was a part of that project and it did not work out. But I believe everything happens for a reason. And I feel as descendants, it is our duty, our responsibility. If we want to honor our ancestors, honor their legacy, honor their courage and their resiliency, then we get together and we do that work. First of all, we need to do the work. And we've been working on that since 2020, since right after the 100-year anniversary of the Elaine massacre. And with COVID and a few other things, my becoming mayor has kind of delayed some of that work, and which is one of reclaim the narrative, reclaim that work from those who I felt was dishonoring our ancestors. So we are moving forward first with the website, and then next we are working on what we're calling a legacy wall. And to honor our ancestors, we have 2 possible locations for it. Nothing is, firm yet. And to descendants in hopes of getting the names, additional names, because currently we're at 200. 200 names of victims and survivors of the Elaine massacre. And we are wanting them to reach out to us, and we have a part there on the website. We'll have a section on the website for them to reach out to us and give us those additional names. Reach out to us those who were survivors, who fled, and they changed their names. One family was Long Necker, and they changed their name to Long. And then they, we were at some events and they reached out, and so we're reaching out and wanting all of them to contact us so we can fill this wall up. And this will be something for us, by us, for them. So those are just 2 parts. And we some documentaries. So a lot of people reaching out, And I've been strategic in not keeping things secret, but making sure that the work is being done kind of in a silo. So, because sometimes you have or who don't want you to do the work. They feel that they're better able, capable, or funded better to do the work. But I know within everything that's in me that our ancestors, that this is work we should be doing. You know, the descendants. And if it takes a little longer to get it done, so be it. I know the ancestors are going to be proud of what we're planning to do in their honor.
Yeah, I love it. Those of us who carry the blood. I love it. Carry the blood. Tony, you want to say something?
Yeah, you know, when Denise was introducing you, even if you got to do that when you're by yourself, we are in a place, and they're not trying to have it. These other things to conceal the terror that and how they're trying to censorship Black history. They're trying to whitewash Black history. Anything that's dealing with that is negative towards this country, they're trying to whitewash it. They're trying to bury it. There was an exchange between Linda McMahon and Jasmine Crockett during a Senate committee hearing, and Senator Jasmine Crockett, who is Black, asked the Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, about start talking about the Elaine massacre, you know, those who are in authority will say, oh, you know, no, we don't know about that, knowing that they do, but they don't want to give you the power of information. They want to give you the power of education. And so it's so refreshing. And I love what was said is that, you know what, you can whitewash all you want to. You can try to hide it all you want to. I'm going to keep pushing in the forefront so that this information can get done, to do something to recognize the legacy of Black people, to recognize the legacy of my ancestors that you cannot take away no matter what you do.
Caller, I see you calling. I wanted Toney to finish his statement. Please call us back. We want to hear everything that you have to say. Caller, please call us back. Lowe says, keep on doing what you're doing, Mayor. Shake those haters off. Y'all know that song by T.I., Motivation. Haters better get on your job. Haters get on your job. It's nothing but motivation. Caller, you're live on the air, KABF 88.3 FM. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
You know, I was looking at some things. Over in the people, you know, I don't really use the Black and the Black for the Afro-American. No original people are the same. 14, I think we rate about 14% of the United States population. Yet, 44% of the money spent on watching people and surveilling people is spent on our people. There is something very special and powerful about our people, that they are observing us to see what we are doing all the time. See, the enemy, he's aware of who you really is, and we are not aware of who we really is. So we are functioning outside of what we really is. And they want, we talking about millions and millions of dollars. They spend more money watching us than they do terrorists that run into the place.
and all this other stuff. So that's just one point. Now, you all are ministers, I respect you all in y'all field. But here's the why I can understand. We have what we call a black Ethiopian farmer that was been out 300 or 400 years. I don't know how many years before any king came in and these other books. I can understand if we are talking about teaching our black people history, why aren't we teaching our black people the religions that we have? I just don't, I'm not no rocket scientist trying to figure it out, but if that was instilled in our churches, I could see a hell of a change with our people. I thank y'all.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I think he, if I heard him, I could have.
Oh, we
I
should
heard
have got
what he
you
was
some.
saying.
Yeah, we should have got you some here.
Oh, that's okay. But I think I heard him say something that I've been talking about for a while, and that is the responsibility of our history and us being educated. We've left that in the hands of other people. And I think about now as I hear about some of the items that are in the museums in DC that they're being returned. And we have, and I guess I'm on the lim, and I'll probably get some shaking up.
Be on the lim. Get on the lim. Get on the lim.
Let me say it. We have enough mega churches. We have enough HBCUs. Just imagine if all of the history we have in other places in the museums where, putting some of our HBCUs, the revenue that will come in to those campuses. If they just had something like the Mosaic Templar on campus, and that's what's so important to me as a descendant. It is my responsibility. I'm humbled that my grandmother shared her stories with me. When I think about the courage and the resiliency of our ancestors who fought at a time when, they fought at a time in 1919. They had the courage and the audacity to sue plantation owners at a time when they were still being hung. And for me not to have the courage and the bravery to at least carry their stories myself and be responsible for them. And I do feel that it is the responsibility of our mega churches and our HBCUs to take this work up about our history that's being, again, some of those things being returned to some of the organizations who donated them to the museums. And I'm not mad at that. And that's why I feel I might get in trouble, because I'm not mad at you returning. Give it back.
Give it back. You ain't want it in the first place.
Give it back. And it should be our responsibility. And as a community, Black, white, Hispanic, whatever, we have to start taking on the responsibility of some of this work. And we've just put too much in the hands of those who don't honor it anyway. So that's why I, again, as we embark on this journey of creating this legacy wall, it will be on land that we own, that we have fought for, and at the end, it can't be taken away from us. And so I think, and as we look at in today's, what's happening today, and one of the things I had someone said to me just 2 weeks ago, that where it makes people uncomfortable. And I replied just as respectfully as I could, I'm not responsible for your comfort. Come on now. That's not my responsibility.
It is not.
My responsibility is to honor my ancestors, just like I hope you honor yours. So it's as simple as that. And in this work, and another part of the work that is so important to me, and a promise I made to Sheila Walker, who's one of the descendants of the Elaine 12, when I asked her to join me in this work around the descendants of Elaine Master. And she said, I'll join you if you include reconciliation in this work. And that's also part of the work, is the reconciliation part of it, in that all of us, both descendants on both sides of this, and that we understand that this history is here, it's not going away. And that, some of us, a lot of us, only learned about it 10, 15 years ago. We've not known about this all of our lives. We grew up in Elaine and the surrounding communities, not knowing that this ever took place. I learned about it just 15 years ago. So, thank the caller for saying that. But yeah, I think some of the churches and some of the HBCUs, and I think it'd be beneficial to them to take on some of this work.
Okay, I want you to get a look when you start talking. I want you to, because your face, we need to see all your face while you're talking to us. We need to see it all. Callers, I know that you all are calling in. I do not want to interrupt the speakers while they're speaking, but please keep calling in. We're going to get you in as best as we can. Caller, you're live on the air at KABF at 8.3. Thanks for calling.
You're more than welcome. Good morning, Sister Denise.
Good morning.
Toney, and to the mayor and those on the way up and those listening. I want to just go along with what's being said and add my 2 cents, because I was in Mississippi in 1955, and on my way to Mound Valley, Mississippi, right after Emmett Till was killed, there was a magazine that was being passed around in a restaurant right in Memphis. We were on the bus, and we were at the bus station, Gray Iron bus station, right around the corner from the new days and old days of movie theaters. We would go to the movies while waiting for the bus. But to make a long story short, the name of that magazine was called the Jet Magazine. And it was a magazine that was published by the Johnsons. Mr. Johnson was from Arkansas City, Arkansas, which is right the county seat from D.C. County, right on the other side of McGee. And people all over the world saw this picture on this magazine. Folks would carry it around in their pockets and wait for it to be distributed in the South, especially. And once they got this little hand-sized magazine, they would have a picture of Emmett Till and his battered body. And that was shown in a way that nothing was ever shown before to not just the Black community, but the world community. It was shown all over the world. This was before the internet and TV, whatever. But folks were just waiting for this magazine to come. They heard about it, they saw it, and then it came out unmasked. And it was called the Jet Magazine. I didn't see it at the museum down on 9th and Broadway. I didn't even see it in Washington, D.C. at Oprah Winfrey's place at the Black Museum, but I'm sure it may have been on one of the floors. I didn't see a commemoration of the Elaine massacre while I was in D.C., but I'm sure it was being passed around because I didn't go to the third floor, I don't think. But for us to know our history, it would have to be taught to us now, because all of these things that we see on TV and internet, they never show what really has occurred, what really has happened to us as a people in this country. I'm not just talking about 1919. I'm talking about, like you mentioned, 1955, and then 1957, and on subsequent up to George Floyd, what happened in Missouri and different places where our Black men were killed by police, if you will. And the guy out in California that they showed the police sticking him with those one that said, "Can't we just all get along?" And I forget his name.
Rodney King.
But the one they kept impaling him with those electronic, whatever it's called, sticking him over and over and over again. They had to riot in California because they acquitted the police who had done this. So we need to do something with this 14%, as the brother mentioned. And one of the things that we can do, and we don't ever do, and we always talk about suits and things, folks don't seem to know that the jury pool is gotten from the folks who vote. If you're not registered to vote, you won't be a part of the process that, get to make the judgment on these different issues. And I very seldom hear folks say anything about registered to vote so you can at least be on the jury. I mean, you might not be able to elect the officials who are representing us, say they're representing us, but you will be on the jury pool, because that's how you get the people to go to the jury. It's through the folks that register to vote. And I just want to make that known. And I'll get off there. And thank you so much for all that you're doing. And hopefully some of these museums and these different venues will archive some of these magazines and those papers from back in the day. There was a paper in Little Rock called the State Press. That's how Daisy Bates got prominent. Her husband, L.C. Bates, had a newspaper right down 19th State, right next to that building where they had the flag down now. That was all black at one time. So maybe we can come up with some of those newspapers and some of those magazines you just mentioned. Because that Jet magazine is what really turned the tide. When folks saw that magazine and they used to carry it around in their pockets, and it was shown just about any and everybody that could see. They didn't have to be able to read, but you saw what you saw. And I just want to make that known. And thank you so much for all that you do. Keep up the good work.
Okay, I need to get in a couple of these comments. So here we go. Lo is reminding us that Jasmine Crockett is a representative. She's a congressperson. She is a representative. Dawn asks the question, do you foresee museums like Mosaic surviving with all the attacks on Blackness? Do you see the museums like Mosaic surviving with all of the attacks on Blackness, especially since she goes on to say that most of these museums receive most of their funding from the government? So that's the question that she asks. And so, Lisa, do you want to respond to that? Toney, want to respond to that?
Yes, one thing you have.
Oh, wait. Caller, you're live on the air, KABF 88.3. Thanks for calling Community Voices.
Yes, good morning. This is Toney. You know, I couldn't miss this one, talking about reparations. Sister Mayor, do you think our ultimate goal is reparations or just to be educated on who and what and all the atrocities that happen? And what suggestion could you give us to where we should get the bag for reparations? Because I know Elaine is one of the that sticks out for us here in Arkansas. I remember my grandfather was from Oklahoma, who took up the name Kelly because he wasn't no joke. So, you know, they found business. But at the same time, I think that we deserve reparations. Is that our ultimate goal, or is our ultimate goal is just to register to vote, or what should we, or what would you suggest that we do in this situation where we know that we should have reparations, everybody else has had reparations, but they keep their foot on our neck by keeping our economy at the lowest?
Okay, we'll let her answer. Thank you, Sullivan. First of all, let's go back to Dawn's question. Let's go back to Dawn's question about do you see the museums like Mosaic surviving with all the attacks on Blackness, particularly because most of them receive their funding from the government? And I think, Toney, you were about to answer that.
And so we have to connect the dots. When you look at what's happening, for those, you look at what happened with Jimmy Kimmel, if they're going to attack their own, to censorship them, then you know they're coming after, they've already had anything dealing with Black and diversity removed out of the museums of the Smithsonian. Mm-hmm. There's a move that to actually take away the name HBCU, And when you talk about the mega churches, you talk about them as because they have the government or states have their hands in the pockets of those museums. They're forcing these museums. They're going to force these museums, these schools, and any entity that is considered diverse or Black. Either you're going to play by our rules, or we're going to take that money out of your pocket. And because the fear is, we can't survive. If you talk to the people at Mosaic Templars now, if the state of Arkansas, which funds the Mosaic through the Arkansas Heritage Foundation, if they say, we're taking away your funding, if you run this exhibit, or if you have this speaker come and talk about this, you know what's going to happen. Okay, yeah. Just like a few years ago, when the King Commission had Sarah Sanders, who was running for governor, had her as the guest speaker and refused to have an open breakfast for people to come, because the King Foundation is ran by the state. So, yes, if we don't start saying that we're going to take care of our own, and going back to the other question about mega churches, oh my God, when they say that on Monday morning, almost $500 million is deposited in banks from Black churches.
That part. That part.
Wow. As a Black church, you can create your own museum. You can create your own legacy. Yes. You can have this to where we ain't got to deal with you. But as long as what they say, if you lay with dogs, you will get fleas.
Okay, the question from Solar Bean was about reparations. Should reparations be our ultimate goal, or should we be more concerned about education? That's what his question was.
And another thing that I kind of get some dings on, I don't focus on reparations. I don't. My focus is the work. And continuing, our ancestors laid a blueprint for us anyway. When we look at the bylaws of the Progressive Household Farmers Union of America, and that was the guiding force, that was the union, and that's what they were fighting for. And you read those bylaws, and they were selling $5 shares to buy land and to create their own Mecca. And so I often get the question about reparations. I'm not going to say if someone hands me a check, I'm not going to take it. But now in today's world, when I look and I see what's happening, I'm like, okay, what's the catch? If I take your money. I'm strong in my belief, and the older I get, the stronger I get in this. And I guess I get it from my grandparents, is if you don't give me nothing, I don't owe you anything. Yeah. I'd rather create my own, scrap, work 2 jobs, do what I need to do because I own it. It is mine. It is tangible. I don't like, I don't want something you give to me that where I'm in fear that I don't do what you say or act like you want me to act. You will come and take it from me. I want to own it. And reparations to me means taking ownership of our history, educating and telling our ancestors' stories truthfully, and empowering each other, but also building our own museums, our own legacy wall, our own memorial, so that we own it. And right now, if we have not figured out, if we don't get together and work together, y'all better come on.
Yeah, I keep thinking about what you said when you said carry the blood. There's a story in the Bible about Mary and Elizabeth, who were cousins, and both of them were pregnant about 6 months apart. And Elizabeth was pregnant with John the Baptist, and Mary was pregnant with Jesus. And when Mary walked into the room, Elizabeth said, "My soul leapt." She could feel that. So when you said a few minutes ago that we carry the blood, my soul leapt when you said that. And I started thinking about that. And then when the caller brought up church, and then Toney's bringing up church, talking about how much money. What if we stopped pleading the blood of Jesus and we started pleading the blood of our ancestors? If we started pleading the blood of our ancestors from the Tulsa Race Massacre, or the Elaine Massacre, or the Colfax Massacre, or the Memphis Massacre, or the New Orleans Massacre, or the Wilmington Insurrection, or the Buffalo Massacre, or the Charleston Church shooting, or the Haitian Massacre, if we started saying, this is the blood that I plead, I ain't thinking about your whitewashed Jesus, I ain't concerned about being saved. Saved from what? Y'all the ones need to be saved. Your soul is the one that's evil because you hate people. I'm the one that's over here saying, no. This is the blood that carries me through. This is the blood that I call on. This is the blood that delivers me. This is the blood that makes a difference. And maybe then the $1 trillion that we spend on hair and nails and eyelashes and red bottoms and whatever else we buy in all these cars and these houses, we could have our own museums. We could have our own schools. So sometimes we got to stop blaming white folks and blame ourselves, because ain't nobody stopping us from spending the money that we make in the way that we make it. We got our values mixed up, And it goes back to what the caller says, because you don't know who you are, because you let somebody else define you. And Audre Lorde said you cannot allow anybody else to define you, because then you're going to be crushed into their limited boxes of who they think you are. And so that's what we got to realize. So when you said, I ain't worried about reparations, I'm worried about the work of our hands. Put our hands to the plow and make sure we get it done. So you, girl, I believe you done blessed. I believe we done had church up in here. You done blessed my soul up in here.
We have the capacity.
We
I have right now a resident who in the city of Elaine now, who is through her own hands, through her own strength, and bringing the first laundromat to Elaine. She owns tiny homes. She's building businesses for her community, allowing her and empowering her, encouraging her, and people reaching out to, hey, how can I help you build in your community? To me, that's reparations. Call her up. She's building TJ's tiny homes in Elaine. She got tiny homes she rents out. If you want, you talking about reparations, sow into her. Sow into our nonprofit Lee Street Community Center as we get ready to build an exhibit space or youth center and a senior citizen. Sow into that. Help us. Because I tell my community, Superman ain't coming.
What you say, Superman ain't coming?
He's not coming. But we have capacity. If we look at what our ancestors started and we finish it, we lean into their work and what they were doing to build for themselves. The massacres started because they were wanting to build wealth for themselves and their families for future generations. That was the reason why they were attacked and slaughtered. And we have, because you're not going to tell them you don't carry that blood and that courage and that resiliency. It's in us.
It's in us.
I see it every day as I see this young woman working. As I see other people in our community, our pastors, Pastor Gibson and Pastor Lamb and all these people working to empower the community. And they don't ask anybody for anything. They're doing it for themselves. So reparations to me means empowering those on the ground doing the work so that we can build for ourselves in our own ownership. And the whole entire community, black and white. I work for all of Elaine. I know I'm not here in my capacity as mayor. I'm here in my capacity as the founding managing director of Descendants of Elaine Mass in 1919. But I love Elaine. That's home. And I'm humbled to lead it. But then this work that originally brought me back home. And that is, again, as we talk about reparations, that's reparations, pouring and sowing into those on the ground who are trying to build Elaine and move it forward, as our ancestors were intending to do before they were massacred.
It's one thing that was great. That was great. And yesterday I had to call Denise and tell her something that I read, and you just encapsulated. Did I say that right?
You did.
What I told her. So I was reading the paper, and this president said that. Doing this memorial of Charlie Kirk, he said that Charlie Kirk was trying to work for all people. He wanted to love his opponent. And he said, I'm not Charlie. I hate my opponents, and I don't want the best for them. And so when you hear that, that should be a clear signal to us as Black people. The same thing that happened in Emmett Till in 1955 is the same thing that's happening to us now. The power structure do not care about you, and they don't care about your well-being. We just heard one of the announcements before we started the show. It's about how healthcare for children here in Arkansas is going away. So that lets you know. So yes, I agree with you. It comes a time when you say, hey, you know what? We can create, we can make, we can take care of ourselves, and we have to get away from the idea that we can't govern ourselves or anything. And just listening to you today, don't be surprised. They might say, we got to send a National Guard to Atlanta.
And that was one of the reasons.
We best hospitality you'll find. I love my National Guard. I tell you what, some good cooks in Elaine, they'll be fed well, treated well, because they will not be mistreated. Send them. We'd love to have them.
But that's also one of the reasons why I chose Tina Marie to bring us in, because this is a white woman singing. And what we have a tendency to do as Black people is the same thing we did to Tina Marie. We heard her voice and we just declared there must be a sister because of the way that she sounds. And so we began to make sure that she was on the Motown label, and we wanted to come and support her the whole way through. Even one of the, it was Rick James. Yeah, Rick James became her mentor and her partner, but I think it was Rudolph. Rudolph, Minnie Riperton's husband, had written a song for Minnie Riperton, his wife, but decided to give it to Tina Marie. And so we have this practice of thinking that when it's white, it's right. And we give so much attention to what they're doing. We're so busy trying to appease them. We're so busy trying to wrap our hands around them and embrace them and love on them and let them see our humanity, to see how good we are. And we got to stop doing that and focus on ourselves. I'm not saying it means not to care about your fellow person. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying we care more about how they feel, more about how comfortable they are, more about what they look and how they see us, more about how they feel about us. We care way more about that than we do about carrying the blood of our ancestors, than we do about doing the work of our ancestors. So we got to get ourselves together, mind, body, and soul, so that we can do this work. And I know y'all been blowing up the phone. I told Lisa, please testify. I told you we weren't going to be able to get it all in. Didn't I tell you? We weren't going to be able to get it all in. But y'all, we have got to go. Your girl Lola is standing at the door. She is ready for 2 hours of Jazzy Tuesday. She going to start us off with yes.
Challenge.
Challenge.
And we don't have to do it right now, but in February, in Black History Month, I mean, I'm just going to send this challenge and somebody else can pick it up. If each of us who care and support HBCUs all over this country, Black, white, whoever, if we could all $5. $5.
I got $5 on
HBCU. Pick 4. And you send $20, send $5. If we would make in February, we could support our HBCUs. And
that's a challenge. We'll talk about that.
But we can come back and talk about
I told you was gonna have to come back. Didn't I tell you that? Your girl Lola.
HBCU challenge in February.
Challenge in February. And I am an alumni, Jackson State University. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, your girl Lola is in the house. Mayor Lisa Hicks Gilbert, thank you for being here. You have just blessed my soul, honey. Thank you for being here. You've got to come on again. We got to continue the conversation. Any way that we can support you, please let us know. You are a staunch supporter of KABF, and Community Voices is a staunch supporter of you as well. We got your girl Lola. Do not touch that dial. We're going to get started with Phyllis Hyman. Since we've been talking about being by ourselves, out on a limb, we're going to get started with Phyllis Hyman singing Living All Alone. Don't touch that dial. Thank y'all so much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Woo, have both lines.
Man, y'all better lock the door. You leave it by